If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to put these clips together so people out there can understand what's going on. I know a lot of you are trying to wake up people in your lives and wake up your friends and anybody that you know, or even a stranger on the street. And that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm sure that a lot of you are trying to do the same thing. One of the things that people don't seem to understand is what is happening with humanity as a whole, and how they are trying to connect human beings to the internet. People hear that and they're like, yeah, okay, they're trying to connect me to the internet. And then when it happens, of course, they'll never acknowledge that we all warned about it, and they'll go along with it because they'll be told the wonderful benefits of it, of, you know, living forever and not getting diseases and all this stuff. But it's the internet of humans, and 6G is going to be where this happens. 6G is going to be in place by 2030. That is the plan. And 6G is pretty much the end. This is connecting everything to technology. This is not just connecting cars. This is not just connecting your home. This is connecting you. And I want to show you some clips here where we see Klaus Schwab and we see many others talking about the internet of humans. Humans will be hackable. Humans will be no longer human because they will mix their DNA, which we're seeing already, with nanobots. They will be mixing themselves, a mixing of iron and clay like the Bible talks about. That is what's going down, and it's happening already. This is what their plan is. And if you don't believe me, listen to it out of the horse's rear ends as well, because these are the people that you're going to see talking who speak at conferences at the World Economic Forum and other places, the World Government Summit, along with your presidents, your world leaders, and your celebrities who all attend, from Joe Biden to Donald Trump. It doesn't matter what side of the fake pendulum they're on. They're meeting with these people, and these are the ideas that these people have for the world. And your government puppets, your actors in government, are going to be the ones that get this pushed across by destroying what's going on in the world now. And like the phoenix rising from the ashes, that is what their plan is, to come in and save the day and to connect humans to the internet and tell everybody out there that it's the new evolution of humanity. Live forever, don't get sick, and of course, be one with each other.
The Internet of Bodies, an ecosystem of internet-connected devices that can alter the capabilities of our bodies, collect personal, intimate data about us so we can learn more about and improve ourselves. We're currently living in an era that's defined by what people are calling the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things. Many devices are moving onto and into our bodies. There's a small but growing movement of people who are early adopters of radical technologies like self-implanted devices. I met a man named Aaron who had about 7 microchips implanted in various parts of his hands. These chips are about the size of a grain of rice and are implanted just under the surface of the skin with an enormous syringe. Aaron was able to unlock his smart front door with 1 microchip and scan another chip with his phone and pull up his personal website. Some of you might start Googling where you can get your microchip implanted, but others of you are probably a bit more cautious about the idea. Even though it's a proven safe technology, it's basically the same technology we use to chip our dogs and cats.
The difference of this forced industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, right, just as an example, it's you who are changed. Yeah, and of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. And of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it, and that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
Talk about technology and how the ways it can be deployed, that contribute to growth rather than exacerbate unemployment. How will that implement itself?
It's a big question mark, because there is a fear that technology, robots, just to take one
you gain
element,
productivity from machines.
Exactly, and it replaces maybe the workforce or jobs faster than we can replace them with new jobs. Not everybody can be a robot polisher and so on, so there will be new jobs.
I think the most important thing to know about living in the 21st century is that humans are now hackable animals. To hack a human being means to understand that human better than he or she understands themselves.
In the 20th century, wireless technology integrated with the human body was nothing more than science fiction. But today, Wi-Fi connected devices like heart rate monitors and sleep trackers have become common parts of American life. How has bionic technology evolved so quickly from science fiction to reality? And what could this Internet of Bodies mean for our lives moving forward? RAND researchers are studying this phenomenon and what consumers and policymakers need to know as we veer into uncharted territory.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the Internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you. And in healthcare, Internet of Bodies has been around for quite a while. With the advent of the internet, it makes a lot of sense to connect your pacemaker to the internet so that your doctor can be automatically notified if something weird happens, if there's an anomaly. It's natural in a lot of ways to want to understand more about your body, how it functions, how well it's doing.
IOB devices could revolutionize healthcare. Unprecedented amounts of personal health data could inform treatment plans that are completely tailored to a patient's needs.
There are pills now that have an electronic sensor that let a healthcare provider know whether you have taken the medication. Other things like precision medicine. So precision medicine is the idea of creating pharmaceuticals or treatment like specifically for your body, for your personalized treatment. And I think IOB could really help with that because nowadays a lot of healthcare is based more on, average reactions, whereas with data from IOB devices, you might be able to really more precisely treat a certain disease.
But the Internet of Bodies won't be a cure-all. In fact, the largely unregulated market poses risks to the uniquely sensitive data these devices collect.
First of all, there's the cyber risk of an actor potentially hacking into the system, whatever it might be. There's the privacy risk of all this data that's being collected, and the regulations about that data are really murky at the moment. And so there's not a lot of clarity into who owns the data, what happens to it, who it gets sold to, how it's being used. And there's even potentially national security and global security risks.
A few examples of these risks have already played out in real life. For instance, in 2018, highly sensitive information about U.S. military activity and base locations was inadvertently revealed by soldiers' fitness trackers. So this is a pivotal moment. What can we do to make sure we reap the potential benefits of the Internet of Bodies without risking our privacy, security, and personal autonomy?
Consumers should be wary of IOB devices because as it's becoming more and more popular, all of this intimate data is being collected, arguably more intimate data than we've ever really recorded before. There's no clarity on what is being done with that data. With an old mechanical pacemaker, there's no data that was being collected and stored, and you could look at a history of someone's heart rhythms. Because
policy tends to lag behind innovative technologies like this. It's probably up to the consumers and to the healthcare patients to really be aware of the devices that they're using and what is happening to their data, and to know what the regulations are in their particular state, because it does vary so much state by state. Even if you think you're not interesting or that nothing will happen with your data, there are a lot of unknowns that I think we need to be careful about.
And that's one of the reasons, too, you hear about all this talk about oneness and togetherness. These are all trigger terms you hear, like universal love. We always hear them talk about. There's certain words, right? We hear one. There's thousands of songs about one. There's thousands of songs about love. And there's thousands of brands and marketing techniques that are used that are pushing this onto people. Togetherness. They want everybody connected. You're going to be connected literally to the internet. People just can't wrap their heads around it. They're like, well, I'm not going to willingly take a chip or anything like this. Well, people are willingly already doing certain things and they don't even realize it. And people like me have been trying to warn, and many of you are trying to warn people about it. And what's the response that we get? You're crazy. You're crazy. And then when they admit to it, they still will go, you're crazy. And then it'll be too late for many people out there. 6G is right around the corner. And they're already talking about 6G. We see Samsung's talking about their 6G spectrum and 6G rollout by 2030. Well, wow, that's a convenient number since we know Agenda 2030 is real and it's in effect. And before we get to 2030, there's going to be lots of crazy, chaotic things that occur to get people on board, because the common person hears this stuff and they go, I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to do that. Oh, yeah, well, when you don't have food and you don't have water, and you don't have income, and you don't have any of this stuff, you will comply eventually. Because you will tell yourself, a lot of people will convince themselves that it's not the mark. They'll see other people do it, and they'll say, that everything's fine, they seem fine, I'm going to go along with it. And they're going to get beaten down and worn down until they do it. Now, they obviously have to create chaos to do this, and that's what you're seeing going on now. This is the beginning of it. We just had a 2-year window where it was a lot of the stuff that's going to be integrated into how people live in the future, with being isolated from one another and being connected to the internet at all times instead of being connected to humans in reality at the same time, being in the same room as somebody. People now, Zoom and all that stuff got pushed so hard during that 2-year period. Now we're seeing, obviously, the rumors of the shortages, power grids, all this stuff. That'll be the next stage to cause chaos. When that chaos is ensuing and going on, people will be turning on one another, going after one another, and eventually be worn out by all of it. And those who survive, when they come up out of their underground bunkers and they reveal to everyone that everything's okay and we could do this together and we need to band together, everybody will join in and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And they'll be told, look, the future now, if you want to survive in this new world, because we've had hackers and we've had all this stuff, we're going to have to connect ourselves to the internet. And we're going to have to, the way they market it and roll it out will work, because we've seen how they market things and they get people on board. They put a nice background song behind it. They show people smiling, and nobody realizes, that's what I keep saying about these pharmaceutical commercials, just watch one on mute. Just watch it on mute. You're like, oh, wow, this is great. What are they talking about? Then you unmute it, and it's like, side effects could be diarrhea, long-term cancer, blindness. I mean, they go on and on and on. And you're like, why in the background of the video are people like eating cake and having a good time and smiling and playing in the park? I mean, it's just the ultimate deception. And they use mind control tactics like that to get this pushed across. So the Internet of Humans is what is coming next. Humans connected to the internet with 6G technology. And you think it's bad now, it's going to be 10 times worse. Over the next few years, I guarantee you're going to start hearing about more and more car accidents, which are extreme. The problem that we're having with car accidents is that, one, we have people who are potioned up driving, who are completely just, well, I can't get into that here, but I think a lot of people have noticed. And two, you have these zombies who text and drive, who swerve lanes. This is stuff that's going on they don't talk about yet, but they're going to start pumping it in the TV and saying how dangerous drivers are, And listen, I've been saying it for years. You'll remember when you see it. You'll be like, oh yeah, I remember Cole saying that. They're going to start pumping it over and over again. spike in car accidents, It's dangerous to go out and drive, making people afraid to go out and drive because people are reckless on the road. People can't drive. People are texting, and then they'll get their driverless cars. This stuff is all going to be rolled in, and it's a system of total control where you have no free will anymore. You will not have free will because you will be connected to this system. You will give up free will, which means you will give up the right to be human, which means you will indeed be taking the mark because you will no longer be a product of God. You will no longer be a creation of God. You'll be creation of this beast system, and you'll be completely under the control of the world government, which is controlled, of course, by Satan. People think that's insane. All this stuff is right in front of you. I've been showing you guys who listen to my channel for a long time, for years and years and years, this obsession with Satan. I mean, I could cover, a basic music video to, plots in all these movies, to actual government leaders like Joe Biden talking about rituals and Satan and all this stuff. I mean, it's everywhere as people are on autopilot and they're refusing to see it. But this is the internet of humans. This is what the future will look like, a human internet where everyone is connected. And that's why you hear these terms like connected and oneness. And of course, this will be completely hackable. This will be hackable because guess who will be hacking you? The devil himself. They'll be knowing your thoughts, controlling your mind, controlling your life. Warn people about it before it's too late. A reminder, check out the website at callfornuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. I hope to see everybody over there. I want to thank you guys for your support. Thank the patrons because of you. It keeps me here on YouTube. So thank you so much. If you're not a patron and you can become one or want to become one, please consider doing so. If not, it's perfectly okay. I do my best to get this content out to everybody. Obviously, you all know the struggles here on YouTube. It is what it is, as they say. Doing the best I can to get content out as much as I possibly can to help wake people up so they can pick up their Bibles and see the truth. And the truth, the only truth in this world is Jesus Christ died for our sins. He died for our salvation. And knowing all this stuff doesn't really mean anything if you haven't found Christ yet. So please consider picking up your Bible after listening to some of my videos. That would make me feel like I'm actually doing something worthwhile. I thank you guys for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you and your families.